Okay, so this is crazy, man. I know there's probably nobody here. But Evie Mux is being a bitch lately. So if anybody comes in here and sees this, you'll understand that this is a horse crap. Oh, shut up. I don't want to hear that again. So I'm going to try to get this up over here. Yeah, a bunch of stuff. ARG. Yeah, that's the one. Live. Da-da-da. Anyway, I got the office put back together, but for some strange reason, I was trying to set up Evie Mux so that I could come on and live stream tonight, but it kept putting me a day ahead, no matter what the hell I had to do. So I had to just make the broadcast, and go live instantly. That was the only way I could do it. So I couldn't upload any pictures or anything. Hey, what's up, Mike? How you doing? But I couldn't upload any background or anything like that. I wonder if I can add, let's see. No, let's go back over here. There we go. I might be able to do this. Ding, ding. There we go. I can put that back there. So if I wasn't here, you can see that. Let me go back to comments. Hey, what's up, Will? It's just something's wrong with the Evie Mux. I can't schedule things ahead of time. I literally just got we got the office redone because we had like asbestos ceilings. So we put a layer of sheetrock over top of it, and then they fixed all that, and then they painted all the ceilings and painted all the walls. And so we were living in another room for like 2 weeks, and we just got back up and running. So I know there was a lot of chaos coming up on the channel tonight, but finally, yeah. Well, no, my wife's still cleaning, and I got to help do some more stuff after I get done here. But basically, since there's a few people here, let me go back and see what my channel is actually showing right now. Okay, that's actually on. Okay, cool. So hopefully, I think Randy said he'd be in about 5 minutes. But part of what I wanted to talk about was the new bill that got proposed, which was just, what's her name? I think it's Stefanik. I'm not sure what her first name is. Let me see. I had the link to her actually. What was it? Drones for First Responders or something like that. I think was what it was. Wait a minute. Here, yeah. Drones for First Responders Act. And so basically, the same chick that's been after us the whole time, that's been after the drones and had a hard on for it, has come up with a new way to. So she's actually renamed it now. So it's actually being called Drones for First Responders Act. So what she's trying to veil this big thing is she's trying to say that we're going to put all these millions of dollars into U.S. drone technology. But apparently in the meantime, we're supposed to stay years and years and years and years and years behind because they want to level you all these humongous tariffs on the Chinese products coming in that we all know work better than anything that somebody's created here. And they want us to pay so basically like the Mavics and stuff that we're getting now, it's anywhere from a 30 to a 40% tariff. I think it's 30%. So we're talking, let me see if anybody's over here actually talking. So anyway, and so they're going to put this huge tariff on it. And then it's going to be costing the Air was like $1,400 or something. So it's going to be, hasn't yet announced if she'll be running for. Well, the whole point is the people are going to be misled by this. She's trying to mislead them by saying, hey, we're going to spend all this money on drone technology. But the sad fact is what the hell are we supposed to do in the meantime if a drone that we're used to paying $1,200 for costs $3,000? It's ridiculous. And then they've got like a tiered program that they're going to do. So they're going to end up phasing everything out, including Chinese drone technology. So it's not just going to be, let's get a big bad DJI. You're not going to be able to put outsourced stuff in another country and bring anything with a DJI product into the country. It's ridiculous. There's like a tiered program to it. Yeah, see, that's what Herman's talking about. So 5% each year, up to 30%. So it's like they're going to make sure that we don't use Chinese drones, but we have to use inferior products that we're getting here that are costing an arm and a leg. Then you're like praying to God that it doesn't fly away. It's not just DJI or Autel, it's just the technology itself they want to end up banning. So it's like it's anti-China everything, just to be anti-China, which I don't know what to say. We should be spending more money to catch up, I guess. Wouldn't that be what you would think? So I don't know. On a squirrel moment that I was going off, if anybody has Netflix out there, you want to watch a movie called Upgrade. It's involving AI and the future, I guess you could say. So it's pretty cool to look at. 10 people watching. Oh no! But the thing about it is I think people got confused. They didn't know which live stream to go to look at because I scheduled them for the right time. Maybe I should just take those down. Probably be better if I just ripped them all down, right? So they'll understand that they need to come over here. We use so much tech, we'll let them create it, and we want to control it. Yeah, yeah. They let them buy land here. Well, I don't know if they would that would be enough to appease them. Because they say, okay, you've got a property here now. Turn over all your blueprints, or whatever. I don't know. Maybe the thing I don't understand is if they're really trying to convince us that it's so horrible and as bad as they're letting on, then why not just show us? Show us how they're tracking us. Show us how. I mean, to me, I'm like, I don't get why that's something we shouldn't know. I mean, if you show the entire country, say, hey, look right here. This tech that you're using and holding, and this is what it's sending. Show us the data that they're sending. And then everybody be like, okay, hang on, Randy's here. Let me plug in here. And we'll let Randy enter the conversation. Here we go. So do you hear what I'm talking about? This new Drone for First Responders Act by the Stefanik lady up there in New York.
Yeah, I caught a little bit of what you were saying. Um, I watched some. I watched. I didn't watch the entire hearing, but I skimmed over it and
Hmm.
looked at some of the powerpoints. I think what they're pushing is the fact that they don't want China controlling the supply chain because more and more first responders are using DJI and
But
Chinese drones
what's the real reason they're using them?
because they're the best in the business.
They work better than anything else they can get a hold of. They help them find and save lives better than anything else. And I'm like, I totally get what you're saying about the supply chain, but we need to answer the call and put up the tech.
I agree. And they had a couple. I forget the name of the company the guy worked for, but he was in totally. He agreed that they need to step their game up.
Okay, hang on. Dale's coming in.
But until that happens, I mean, they need to just let them use the best at their disposal.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Why put them, 10, 15 years behind and say you can't use anything that's coming out of there? Whoops, sorry. I did the wrong thing. I gave that to you guys, didn't I? Well, if anybody wants to come in and join the conversation, let me go send this to Dale too. Do 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 do. So, because I'd like to have more input on this. So I know Dale's coming in, but that's what I'm saying. It would be, well, let me put it this way. The first thing I read warned that like we was talking about, Herman was talking about earlier, tariffs and incentives. The act introduces incremental tariffs on PRC made drones, so Chinese drones, starting at 30%. That's what I misunderstood from Herman. Starting at 30% and increasing annually by 5%. This aim is to curb the import of drones and stimulate the U.S. and allied drone industries. Stimulate? It's
The
stimulate. We're so far behind that they're like, oh, we need extra money to catch up.
That's the only thing that's going to hurt is the people buying them, the
And by the
consumers.
way, anybody that's curious, this is a Republican that's introducing this bill. Just to give you a heads up, it's a Republican. So, and then the second is a grant program, a revenue neutral grant program funded by these new tariffs will support first responders, critical infrastructure providers, agricultural sectors, and acquiring secure drones manufactured in the U.S. or allied countries. This initiative is designed to replace vulnerable equipment with secure and reliable alternatives without imposing financial burden on essential services. Go for it, Dale. What?
Good
You back
evening.
here? Yeah,
There
you're
you
in.
go. Oh no, I'm just saying that like screaming right, not
It's
as far right as everyone else is left.
that's
Sometimes.
yeah. That's what kills me. And I mean, that's and I'm sorry. I'm gonna go semi-political for just a second. There's too far extremes on both sides. There's a god awful extreme left, and I don't want a damn thing to do with them. And there's a god awful extreme right, and I don't want nothing to do with them either. But I'm gonna admit there's the bad ones on the left too that are batshit crazy.
So
Yeah, I
Bill,
agree.
listen to the. Did you listen to any of it last week?
I watched bits. Dale threw all this at me when I was starting to read this stuff, and I was like, because it's like she's using it. She's using it as here. Hey, here we go. Here's Herman. She's using it
Hey, how
as
you
a way
doing?
to bait people into to pushing it through. Finally, is what it seems like to me. Because she's gonna be pushing the. We're gonna get more money and better equipment for the first responders, and then all the
I
rest
mean,
of it.
the problem is like okay, all the first responders are like, yeah, we can buy really great stuff now. That's not U.S. made. All the U.S. made is 10 years behind, right? That's what they kept saying. And then they're like, oh, well, we got to push this. We got to get this all manufactured back in the U.S. But there's no supply chain. Oh, well, we'll tax it. So then we'll do it like this. We'll tax 30% now, and then we're going to raise it 10% per year, and then we're going to ban them in 2030. How does that help build the supply chain?
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, unless they're taking that 30% tariff and they're going to actually give it to some of the people who are making the supply chain, you
It's
know?
all BS because we're the ones that are going to be paying that tariff. They're
Oh,
not going to,
absolutely.
they're
Well,
just going to
well,
pass
well,
it on to us.
well there's a few things that they don't mention to you, and they continue not to mention to you. And I've been saying it all along. When we start the whole Made in America campaign, keep in mind in China and these places that have these manufacturing plants is an infrastructure. It's not just that we want to make one product and we're going to piecemeal this product together. Everyone that makes a piece of that product is made in the same building.
Oh wow,
You understand what I'm saying to you? So
yeah.
if I make a product and each of you guys have a component that's in there, it's made in the same building that my product is made in. And that's what they're not telling you guys. So to make a drone, if you need this component from here and a camera part from here, well, we don't make cameras.
Right, yeah.
You understand? And you need a piece from over here and a part from there. It's got to get it from someplace. And if you're going to make it here, it's going to drive the cost up, and you're going to make them a lot slower. And with the minimum wage going to what, $17, you're going to pay somebody $17 an hour to put little components into a drone. I don't have the hands to do it. Let's be real about this. I don't have the hands to do it.
Yeah.
It's done by small people.
So in Washington, if I go buy 2 sausage McMuffins right now, it's going to cost me $5 in Chehalis, whatever, right?
Mhm.
If I did that in Meridian, Idaho, and it was $2.75, same thing. The difference
Uh-huh.
is the minimum wage over there is 8 something an hour, and here it's 16 something. It's double.
Right.
Yeah, that whole minimum wage thing is ridiculous. I mean, McDonald's is a crossover job. That's not a career path, in my opinion.
Yeah,
That's for
exactly,
kids coming out
man.
of school. You know,
Yeah, exactly. You had to figure out that's the whole point of working at McDonald's. You had to figure out how that 23 hours that you got that week was going to get you through the whole weekend, out with your girlfriend, go to a movie, and still have money by Monday when your parents were rubbing it in your face going, "You're broke, aren't you?"
Yeah, it made you want to. It made you want to find something better. You know, what I mean, better yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
So I was at a trade show down in Houston a couple weeks ago,
Uh-huh.
and the question came up. I one of the ROV manufacturers, right? And he's Taiwanese. The CTO is Taiwanese, and he said, "Oh, well, why didn't you manufacture this in China, or I mean Taiwan?" And he's like, "Oh no, it's so much cheaper to do it in China. In Shenzhen, everything is like because all the supply chain is there. I can get this component, this component, this component, this component."
Oh wow.
You look at this nice little Wise Cam here, right? You know, this thing's what, less than $40 for
Mhm.
this smart camera with AI tracking and all that kind of good stuff, right? This is actually in China, it's a different brand. And then what they do is they just manufacture the hardware and then they put new firmware on it here for the US and call it Wise Cam. That is serious. And so they've already got this a manufacturer over there. They just put different software on it and bring it here.
Right.
And they're doing that with all kinds of products.
It's craziness because we make a big deal about it, and I get it. It riles people up. It gets people talking, and it gets people running behind. And these cats, they want money and they want votes. And I said this about the bill. I understand what the bill aims to do.
Where's it at? I gotta do this. Where's it at? Where's it at? You ready? The
What?
Koopy Clote of the night. Make McMuffin's great again. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
no, these guys with this, Miss Stefanik with her Joe's for First Responders Act. Now that it's evolved into this, it's no longer stating that we're going to. Well, I don't hear to talk about ban anymore. I hear to talk about tariffs and increasing the tariffs so as that we can fund the manufacturers that don't exist to make these drones that we're going to use for the first responders. As the first responders themselves at that hearing is telling you, the ones that you're giving us don't work. My God, you sent them into another country and they told you they didn't work.
I thought they just started going after the electric batteries too. Didn't they just start going after the car batteries too?
When you talking about the car batteries, as far as because I
China.
know that the what do you call it, the New York City, what they now got this thing now instead of chasing cars, they have this thing now where they shoot it onto the. So we're talking about shooting it onto the car and being able to track you back later on when you go home with the car or go wherever you're going with the car.
Wow.
Some people
That's
are taking the
tricky.
Apple AirTags and throwing it on a car,
Wow.
Yeah,
like stick it somewhere underneath it so that they can track you. There's a company in China called BYD Motors, and that's part of this whole thing too, because they're saying, oh, well, they're building a factory
Oh,
in
hang
Mexico.
on. I didn't see Lawrence till just
The
now.
BYD electric car is like one of the best cars that competes against Tesla in China, but it's only $15,000 and drives as well as a Tesla.
they're gonna have that here in America.
No. They won't
Yeah.
bring it to
Oh,
America
okay.
because they're gonna put a tariff of 150% on it, is what they said.
Wow.
Yep.
I feel like this is what
But they
was
got
it
to
when we
bring
were
that
growing
price
up?
up so you can be competitive.
Tariff everything Russian made. I was like, didn't it seem familiar? But it was a different bunch then.
Oh, they're still on there. They're still there. Russia didn't go anywhere. They didn't get elevated off the list.
Can you
Oh,
guys hear me?
yeah, we can hear you.
All right. Well, my picture seems to be frozen. I don't know what the hell's going on.
We can see you
That's
fine.
$10.
Can you?
Oh, okay. So maybe
Yeah.
it's just on my page.
No, and even on the stream, you're still active. I don't know what it is. Maybe.
Okay. All right. I can't. Yeah. All right. Cool. Sorry for interrupting.
Oh no, you're fine. This is an interesting subject. That's why I was like opening the door, and the more people, the merrier. Because the way she's got it veiled now is what scares the shit out of me. Because it's not like we must, Drone Securities Act ban all Chinese drones. Like Herman was talking about, she's not mentioning banning, and then she's like even saying what is it, PPCR or whatever, People's Republic, yeah, PRC, People's Republic of China. and not really being foremost and everything, and then just like, okay, but we're gonna help the first responders, and we're gonna get the police what they need, and help the men in blue, and like, yeah, they'll just go right through with it. Is what I feel like.
Yeah, at least until 2030. Don't worry about it. That guy could tread water till 2030.
But you know what they'll do is they'll pass it and they'll say it's 30% now, and then 10%. Oh no, 10% is not enough. We're going to go up to 20% next year, and then
Too many
Of
people are
course.
still buying them.
Of
Yeah.
course.
So what are they going to do when here's the go? They start putting tariffs on them, and then all the first responders apply for the extra money needed to buy the new Chinese drone. I don't see how
Well,
they're
see,
going to cover anything.
Bill, it's not coming out of their pockets. It's coming out of our tax-paying pockets. So they'll be able to get any amount of dollars that they want to refurbish and get new machines wherever they need to get them from.
Well, see, the thing is, when you start getting into the government funding, and this is why none of the first responders, all of the first responders, if you listen to the hearing, especially Mr. Waffle Man from AUVSI, he'll go along with whatever was going on. Whatever you
Yeah.
say,
True.
yeah, I'm with that. Yeah, whatever. Oh, yeah, I'm with that. Um, they don't have a choice because that's where their funding comes from. So if their funding comes from the government, then they have to. They have to. They don't have a choice. Either whether they like the DJI or not. And if you listen to them talk about it, they do like the Chinese drones. They would like to use them, but the government says that they have security risks. So you say I can't use that anymore. But the drones that you want me to use, they don't operate as well. So
True.
at what point in time can you get this drone up to par?
Give them
How
10
long does
years.
it take?
Eh,
Because
Yeah,
they
at
claim that
least.
they claim that uh, companies like DJI and Autel are subsidized by the Chinese government. I wanted to,
Right.
and that is the reason why they're so far ahead of the American companies. And I disagreed with that about over a month ago on that because I said this. The reason why they're so far ahead of us is the stifling of our STEM programs. If we
Yep.
encouraged our students to do these type of things, then the same way they had a gentleman that created DJI, we would have had a gentleman that created something here in America. But we don't because we didn't. And that's just the bottom line.
Yeah, I mean, our science and STEM programs are not great anywhere in the U.S. Everybody's got to be equal in terms of what their education is. I had a daughter who had learning disabilities because she's a cancer survivor and had chemotherapy, so she had some memory issues. But they just basically pushed her along in all the classes, and then when she got bad grades, and they were like, "Well, we can do accommodation for her, so she doesn't have to do this and she doesn't have to do that." What are they learning there? Nothing. Or they didn't, because now they're accommodated.
He's
So
not
everyone's
watching this.
pushed
Just go in the
Yeah,
along.
background.
they're too worried about the students' feelings than they are about
I
their
mentioned
academic achievements.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. You know what the problem is? You can't bust a kid's ass no more. When I was
Yeah,
growing up, if I did something wrong,
that's
I got lit up like a Christmas tree, and I didn't want to do it again.
Hey,
Well,
talking
see,
about the Autel there, actually, when I was at the fire show, Max came up to me and asked asked me about the anti drone bazooka that they have. And he's like, "Yeah, I know you can't sell it." And I said, "Well, can you send me just a model? I would love to have a model of one, and I'll just put some lights in it and stuff and make it look like a laser."
well, you have to ask yourself, with all of this going on, we still do not have a company here in the United States that can build a drone half as reliable as what we're using now. You know why? Because we have to outsource everything. I mean, right here in the state of New York, they're talking about starting a chip factory. Okay, that's fine and dandy here on the East Coast. They opened up a new chip factory on the West Coast. Where are these chips going? Why are they not being used? And you guys know yourself, it's going to cost an arm and a leg to make a drone as good as DJI and still try to keep their price point. It's impossible.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it won't.
there's so many regulations, stipulations around doing something like that chip factory. Oh, you're using too much energy now. In Washington State,
Hmm.
if you build anything over 19,000 square feet, you have to put EV charging stations in.
Not all
I
of them.
mean,
That's true.
we've gone through this a little bit in the world of FPV. You remember the so-called chip shortage after, COVID and stuff like that, right? Well, in the world of FPV, you could buy a stack, an F7 stack, which is like close to top of the line stack, with a flight controller and ESC. You could get something decent for about $80, $90. But because of that chip shortage, wherever they claim it went on, now these same chips are $150 to build an FPV bird. Okay, it's ridiculous. When will it stop? Everyone has their hand out for money, but I don't see it going to anywhere it's supposed to go.
It's
Not to
not gonna
mention the
stop.
gimbal troubles. Inspired Flight
Just-
makes the IF 800 Tomcat or whatever. It's similar to a Matrice 300, right? I've flown it,
Mhm. Mhm.
and it flies okay. The handles right. The camera, there's a little bit of video lag, right? So okay, they got to improve on that. They don't have obstacle avoidance, but they said they're looking at adding that in the future. But everybody is using basically a Pixoc cube stack of some sort, whether it's a black or orange or blue or whatever, which has been around for how many years has that been around? A Pixoc stack?
Right, old technology.
Quite a long time. No improvements. Nobody's doing it themselves. I mean, um, and then they don't make their own cameras. So the cameras that are on there, like it was raining when we did the demo. Oh, we have to take the camera off because there's no, it's not waterproof.
Well,
Drone,
see,
they put on the camera.
this is the point I'm trying to make with the FPV. They want American made drones here. I want American made drones here. But it's not going to happen because at some time and point, one or two of those parts are going to come from outside the United States. Right? Today it's China. Next week it's Malaysia. After that it's Taiwan. You keep going. You understand? It's a vicious circle.
I don't think it'll get that deep because I don't think that America believes in a
Wow, we got
self-contained
busy all at
nation.
once.
Because
Did you
once you
guys?
start going into that, you start talking about totally self-contained nation,
Yeah.
and we all know about the whole global.
And we're definitely not a self-contained nation. We
So
we
COVID
can't.
COVID proved that.
Yeah,
and
we
how
can't get.
fast are
With,
how fast are Americans innovating? Right? Okay. So I mean, a couple of years ago, Biden was saying how well the electric cars are going, right? How good that Ford and Chrysler and Chevy are all doing great. They're the leaders in making American electric cars.
right.
What did he leave out?
Hmm.
He didn't say a word about Tesla, and Tesla's the number one manufacturer of electric cars in the U.S. And he made them
Well,
making them cheap because it's a non-unionized job. But
Well, you
did you
know
guys
what's
see
funny?
the camera that came out last week, the H30T?
hmm
Yeah.
Hmm.
36
The,
times optical zoom, 1280 by 1080 thermal,
yeah.
600 times digital zoom.
So
yeah.
like 15 grand.
Yep.
So it's like
Yep.
12 grand or
Yep.
something like that.
Shoot.
But you can only buy that camera. China won't let them export it out of China unless it's sold with the drone.
Oh
There's
wow!
always a
Cannot
catch.
buy the camera by
Wow!
itself
That
Wow!
sucks.
Oh!
because of that thermal camera.
Wow!
You can buy the one with not the thermal camera, and it's like
hmm
$4,000, less than $4,000.
That's so fucked up.
But you throw that thermal camera on
Okay.
it, and it changes the game.
All right. They want to make their money back on that thermal. Everybody seems to be going in that direction. I don't blame them.
And it's in 1280 thermal though. That's
That should be real interesting.
that's smoking resolution.
Yeah, yeah, it is. So,
Well,
I
and
don't.
my
That's
Go ahead.
go
the
ahead.
price of a
Go
thought.
ahead.
No, I was just going to say a lot of this, the common drone pilot out there that's watching these live streams and watching our live streams doesn't even have to worry about this government stuff. And I'm going to raise a valid point because here in New York, they amended some aggravation law pertaining to drones flying in New York. They did this in 2004. Well, it's 2024, and they still haven't even updated the police officers' books with that. So, how long do you think that it's going to take to update the rest of the United States? How long do you think it's going to take for the rest of the United States to catch up with all of this technology? Years.
Well,
I'm
look.
telling everyone, go ahead, go
Look,
ahead.
look at John. What I put up for John said. It says, would anyone be okay with the United States banning DJI on the condition we subsidize drones here the same way they do in China? So
Well,
basically, like
that's
like
what the
Herman's
bill
saying,
speaks to.
If we had something to subsidize.
No, but that's what the bill speaks to. But John,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
say this to everybody, and I don't want to, and I'm not a fearmonger, but show me the American company that's producing the next drone for you to fly.
Right, right. Show us. Look, we want to see the next
I'm
drone company
waiting.
that's going to build something for the consumer. Everyone's talking commercial. Everybody, even Ansu Robotics, they're talking enterprise drones. And you know who's worried about all this the most? The average drone pilot, more than the
yeah,
government is.
Well, the
so
average
I
drone
had
pilot,
I had a customer come in
average drone
today,
pilot should.
commercial operator,
Yeah.
and he told me, he's like, yeah, they had a guy. Normally, they have the number of pilots around the country, and he says normally we call up our local uh, office person and say, hey, we're going to be here flying, doing this and doing that. Well, the guy went out, went to the person's yard, flew up, did this pipeline flight. Then it was a 200-foot elevation limit. Well, he accidentally hit, returned to home, and it was to 400. So went up to 400, came back and landed. He got his drone, and he got in the car, and he left. Within 3 minutes, Homeland Security showed up at that guy's house, knocking on his door. He's like, "Hey, why were you flying the drone over here?" And he's like,
Hmm.
"Oh, no, it was some pipeline guy." And he's like, "What? Pipeline guy?" And they started then go freaking out. So then they started calling, and they called up the company, and they're like, "Oh no, we didn't. Nobody was flying today. They didn't report they were doing any flights." And then it started going down a rabbit hole. Let's just say, yeah, the guy kind of got his hand slapped, but had to do some reporting on that one. But it took him less than 3 minutes for Homeland Security to show up at that guy's house after the flight. And the guy wasn't
Well, we
actually there
expect
very long.
we expect things like that to start happening here in New York. They just announced that 5 police precincts in the city are going to place a drone in a box, Skydio X10 in a drone in a box on the roof, and they're going to start responding to critical 911 calls. Well, Herman and I happen to work at a site where there's a precinct right down the block from us, and he lives between two of those precincts. So now what happens here? Here's the situation, and I want you guys to answer this. You're flying your drone recreationally, or you're flying your drone for work, and one of these police drones goes up. My first question is, how do you know that there's another police drone in the air, or there's a crime that drone has to cross your path? We're supposed to heed way to them, to the police and law enforcement. How are we going to be notified of these things unless ADBS, which lets us know there's aircraft in the area, are going to let us know there's police drones in the area also?
His
Where do
his
you think this is going to go?
his drone should have blue and red strobes on it flashing.
Yes, it should have blue and red strobes, but I've seen NYPD, they only use the generic DJI green and red. Every now and
No, I'm
then you'll
saying
see a
flashing as he's coming.
oh, we will. Well, I wish that were true, but from what I see, the police here in New York City that are using the M30, that only has one strobe on top, one on the bottom, which is white, and you have your front red and your green. My problem is I'm working. How am I supposed to know I'm in the middle of a beyond visual line of drone site? If it makes any sense.
Hmm.
That you're beyond visual line of sight?
No, that they are. How do I know a drone's coming into my airspace?
Yeah.
Do you think they're going to update ADBS to say, okay, there's a police drone in the
Yes.
area. Please
Drone,
land in the Eadway. Yeah, or
possibly.
drone ID. Where do you think
Possibly.
they're going to go with this?
That's possible, but watch what I'm about to tell you. Who's to say that these drones that we're talking about that don't work will even have that?
True. That's true. Right now they're using Skydio. Skydio wasn't even talked about until all of a sudden this chick came out with all it with this new bill
That
and
that's actually not true because if you remember, all of the companies that were selling consumer drones, right? When the United States decided that we wanted to do something about all of these
I like
drones
this
in the
though.
airspace, right? They call it integrating drones into the airspace. So
yeah,
what they said was, let's gather up all of the companies that are making consumer drones and tell them this. Listen, check this out. Either you get down or you lay down. You either join the program and you start manufacturing these drones in the United States and make them under the blue UAS list, or you don't make drones and sell them here at all. And
right.
DJI said, I'm doing just fine without that list because I'm selling consumer drones. That's why if you listen to the whole thing with that whole hearing, and they talked about that supply chain and what happened during the war with the usage of the Autel and
Yeah,
DJI, it's only because they didn't want the drones to be used as war machines. You understand?
I
Why
get that.
shut down from being used? And now you label them as being war machines because you claim them being. Listen, that's a bunch of nonsense. But anyhow, yeah, that's where all of that speaks to, and we really fooling ourselves with thinking that this is something that we could do overnight. It
Listen,
ain't. It ain't go till 2030.
the only thing Bill and everyone else on the panel that you can tell people out there who are not in the industry of government and law enforcement is to keep flying until someone comes to you and says you can't fly here anymore. Plain and simple. As long as you're flying legally and you're within reason and your drone's registered, they should leave you alone at least for a couple of years.
I agree. I agree.
But it gives us great live stream subject matter.
What about Philly?
Well, this is true.
What happened?
What about Philly
What?
Mike?
What happened, Philip?
Well, that's a different story in itself. But
But the whole
You
point is
all right?
nothing really happened, though.
you know what
Well,
they did? The end outcome was what they wanted him to do years ago, which was to comply and fly legally.
Right.
That's all they wanted because in the long run, they said no matter what, how much money we want, if you get your Part 107 so you can make monetized money on YouTube or through whatever service you want, and you fly to where you stop flying from that alleyway halfway across the city, we'll leave you alone. And that's all he had to do to comply. That's all. But for a few clicks and a few likes, oh, I'm not paying nothing. It was a whole. We know it was an act. We all
Yeah.
know this. We all. Herman and I have known him for years now. We know this. He chose not to. So you can't feel sorry for someone who knew better.
Yeah, he was looking like he was going to make out until he made that one flight in April when he was supposed to be grounded until the court hearing, and
uh,
Uh-huh.
that was a nail in his coffin.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you reap what you sow. If someone says you run across that field, you're gonna step in shit, and you go run across that field, guess what? If you step in shit, don't go, oh damn, I should have listened, or does
And,
someone have a new pair of shoes for me?
you got to look down when you're running.
Hey,
Yeah.
Ron.
and here's Ron, and he's
Hey,
even giving us a segue into the next area of the show, which is about the Air 3S4.
the Air 3S, possibly
Three,
Mavic 4.
Oh,
Well,
you
no,
just
they're
put
actually.
Or the Air Force.
that camera on the air.
The 3S4.
The Air
No, I'm
Force.
just saying. I'm just saying, making a joke about we
The
had the
3S
recent.
Air Force.
What, Herman?
The 3S Air Force.
Yeah, the 3S Air 4. That new model that nobody knows about yet. But
That's the one with the 6 cameras.
so Ron, I don't know if you've heard any about what we've been discussing, and I swear, I got to do this. I got to do this. Doesn't he look 40 years younger?
Hold on, I can find my glasses here someplace.
You don't need
Botox.
with the glasses.
I think I see Botox.
Botox.
He's, he's commenting about the glasses.
Oh, I thought I saw a few Botox pinholes there.
I forgot to ask my eye doctor when they did that too.
What do you think about the way that Eloise Stefanik has renamed this bill in order to combat Chinese drones?
You mean the one where we're going to be charged a 30% tariff now?
Mhm.
Plus
Drones?
5% every year after that. So 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. 60.
Now, does that go on top of the tariffs we're currently paying?
Exactly.
Yes.
Well, think about it. It's going to a good cause. It's going to go to these drone manufacturers to build drones where I don't know where they are, but it's going to go to them.
Oh, well, it's going to help all the American consumer drone companies out.
Well, that's what John was talking about earlier. He was talking about how we need to subsidize these like communities like China did. But the problem here is everybody's out for that mighty dollar.
But that's what the bill is for.
Yes, Bill, that's what it is. It's to line everyone's pocket. So when all this commercial stuff gets going, they will be retired and or out of office and sitting back saying, "Oh, we made a lot on that deal."
I don't know. Some of them are sitting there till 70.
But yeah, true.
We were talking about tax and the tariffs, right? 30,
Yeah.
whatever. And then you were talking about subsidies. So, okay, so let's use these tariffs to subsidize the U.S. manufacturers so that they can actually do it. So, Skydio, who has just put a lot of money into, lobbyists, they're going to get all their money back because they're going to get these subsidies so that they can develop the supply chain.
You got it.
Yep.
And you got it. That was a major play by Skydio. I got to take my hat off to them.
Thinking game. Brink's in there too. Brink is the indoor drone that in Seattle now, and it flies like an FPV drone from 5 years ago. It's to fly indoors. It uses analog, so it goes in 30 feet and you lose the signal.
So basically, it's a close and play drone.
Yeah, and it's like it's an FPV drone with a little glass break thing on it, so it can fly up to a window and break the glass and then fly in the house and clear the room.
Listen, the guy threw it out the window and it keeps coming back.
From 5 years ago,
like the cat on the Flintstones.
And they charged $15,000.
I was waiting to see if Ron reacted, but he didn't.
Yeah, you're talking about Brink. You're talking about the Brink drone.
Yes.
Yeah. We're familiar with that drone. And you want to know what? That drone is being made here in the United States and is doing better outside of the United States because law enforcement is not going. They just don't want to pay that kind of money.
No.
Well, it's not
they're manufacturing in Seattle, which is one of the higher cost of living cities.
But for the price of that one Brink drone, you can get 2 M30Ts.
Or you can get like 20 Avata 2s.
It's just 20 Avata 2s.
And when somebody slaps the dang thing down on the ground,
they really should make an
$500
edition of that drone.
$15,000.
You hear what Herman said?
No,
they should.
They really should make an enterprise edition of that drone. I keep saying it. I can't say it enough.
I heard rumors that they had a version they're going to put a glass break on it, and stuff
from the original Avata. I said they should make an enterprise version of that. That would be great for law enforcement. But then here in the United States, they would never know because they can't use it.
Right.
Except what was it Vermont or Connecticut where they shot down the law to ban the police from not being police, fire, and first responders from not being able to use DJI drones that got shot down in a vote like
Of
last week.
them not being able to use
Yeah,
them.
yeah. Well, I got myself all turned around
There
here.
is
But
there
they
is a
voted to
state somewhere
allow
with
them to keep
local.
using these drones.
There is a state somewhere. I remember hearing a local municipality trying to say to hell with the government law. We're going to keep using the drones. I could not tell you the exact state, but I do
It,
remember hearing.
well, I
Of
know
course,
in Texas.
That's happened in many local places
I
where
know in
people they
Texas.
just refuse to follow the regulations.
It
Mhm.
Well,
was
that's same.
Texas, Herman.
Well, I know in
Herman,
Well,
Texas
you're right.
they
look
were
at
using them
marijuana.
for,
Marijuana's illegal
for
federally, but
security.
they still use it. State. It's still legalized in a lot of states.
Right.
But that's
Yeah,
because
Well,
of the clause in the Constitution that says states have the right to govern themselves.
I'm
So
still here. I'm just cutting my camera off.
But what they
well,
can do is they can ban the import of it. So,
yeah,
right.
well, or they can tariff the shit out of it, and we don't
all
know
right.
where the money gets dwindled
Well,
away
see, there's that T word again, tariff.
Well, Texas was doing something to, ensure that the data was secure. And I
Yes.
mentioned this during the live stream today. That when I went to renew the insurance, they told me that the reason why there was another $250 something dollars added on to the premium was if I can if I can prove that I could secure my data, that they would eliminate that cost. And I'm like, well, how does that keep people on the ground safe?
Yeah,
Right.
I thought that's what the insurance was for
Right.
keeping people safe.
But getting back to what you were saying, Herman, Texas did find a loophole in securing their data by
Well,
using third-party apps.
so there's all about that. Everything now you're going to hear about this whole national security and the whole cybersecurity, because it's something that you can't disprove. That they can say whatever they want about it.
Yeah, true.
plus, a couple guys already proved it with the DJI drones. The DJI says themselves, you can go in yourself in the software and turn off like all data mode or whatever, so it's not transmitting any data any place. Anybody,
Well, yeah, that's the same thing with your cell phone, but they could still track you.
They're going
You can turn
online.
off. Yeah, yeah.
but are
Yeah,
we
well,
worried about tracking or data exchange?
Well, with your cell phone, you're supposed to be able to turn off your GPS location, correct? Well, if you could turn off your GPS location, how come Google Maps still works with GPS off? That's my point.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
well, there's
As long as the phone is powered on, it knows where it's at.
there is other ways around them being able to collect any data. There's ways around it, and
Yeah.
it's already been proven. Like Ron said, it's
well,
already
the
been
whole
proven.
point is I would like
They
them to
don't care about that.
show us what data that is so terrifying and so bewildering.
They won't do it because if they had it, they would have did it already.
Exactly.
I don't think it
Well,
has anything to do with
the
data.
building. Well. Seriously, in all truth and right, Bill, the building that they're building down the street from you, when the ground was mapped, they really need that data. And when you were on vacation in the Bahamas and you were shooting the family at the beach, they really need that data so as that they can wage war on the sands of that beach
Well, what are you
whenever they
thinking, Randy? You
And
said
they just can't wait for
and
Herman to get
influence
home and
your
upload all
thoughts
that
about
stuff.
that beach.
well, Randy
What'd
had
you
a
say?
different opinion. What were you thinking, Randy? I wanted to hear what you said. What? Did you turn your mic off?
Oh,
I don't
sorry.
hear him.
I think it's a couple different things. I think it has a lot to do with American companies, bureaucrats being in the politician's pocket and trying to get a leg up on the competition. And like they were saying in that bill, they don't want to rely on China for supply chain. So if something was to happen, we're too reliant on their drones. So if they wanted to cut us off, it would be pretty
Yeah,
easy.
but whose fault is that? That we're reliant on their stuff,
Well,
It's
once
ours.
our Their own
And
fault.
Once again, I ask you this: when you talk about relying on them for supply chain, how would you change that? Because right here in New York, right, we have what we call the garment district. I
Hmm.
challenge you to find the factories that were here that were making clothes. They're not here anymore. They're in
Yeah.
another country somewhere. You know, those jobs move, people evolve, they do other things. To be able to control the supply chain, as you call it, or as they call it, you would have to you would have to be able to control every aspect of it, and we don't.
We
We
don't
will
have
be
the capability, no matter how much we try. If we dedicated the next 5 years towards technology to better the United States as opposed to trying to land on the moon first, maybe we would get ahead.
Yeah,
well.
If
I
that,
there's
mean,
always
if
there's
you
always
could
going to be a
probably
piece of
do
it
it.
coming from somewhere else.
there
You could
is, there
probably,
is.
you could probably start it, but in the beginning, for those first 5 years you're talking, it's going to be damn expensive on the consumer.
And here's even more proof that they just don't care about the average Joe. It's all enterprise and commercial. Here in New York, we have aviation high school. They're teaching them, the kids, a new courses on how to become a Part 107, how to work on eVTOL technology, how to repair these engines. That's where they're headed with technology. As far as the smaller man, you'll be lucky to get a job in one of them places. Seriously. And technology wise, like I said, if we dedicated some of the money we put towards war and going to space and going under the ocean towards our technology to make us a better people, we would be number one again.
Uh
But
oh.
too many people are too greedy. And just to make a screwdriver, the guy wants to charge you $15 for something he 3D printed.
Oh,
Yep.
wait a
And
minute.
everybody
You
wants to
need a
take the
mirror.
easy path instead of actually
Yep,
innovating.
yep, yep, yep.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
We
that's
talked
true.
about that a lot and a total ton and a bunch of. So I think it sucks. I don't know what we can do about it. But I also wanted to talk about, as Ron is, the Air 4 and what we think
Hmm.
potentially might be on it. If it like a lot of the the people that like drone DJ and all that stuff and High over there at
Drone XL.
Drone XL, and they're predicting that the Air 4 will actually come out before the Mavic 4.
I
And
mean, the talk
Okay.
is
It
the
will.
Air 4 will be here by the end of July, just almost a year anniversary from the Air 3.
That way they ensure people buy the Mavic 4 is
So
if you
looking
bring
at
the Air
looking at
4
some
out first.
history here, the Air 2 came out in April 2020, Air 2S April 2021, Air 3 July 23.
Because
Yeah.
if
so there
they
was a
release
2 year difference.
Well, if you look at the mini 4 Pro dropped
Yeah.
real quick right after the Mini 3 Pro.
Yes.
You know that wasn't about a year we were talking about it already.
if they release the Mavic 4 before the Air 4,
Nine
nobody
nine
would buy
months
the
from
Air
the Mini
4.
4 Pro.
But this first battery looks to be a Mavic battery to me. There looks to
That
be
The
looks like one of
first,
the enterprise
if
batteries.
if you look, the first battery looks like a Mavic 3 battery. The second battery, and I predicted that the Air 3S would be smaller than the Mavic 3, but larger than the Air 2S, which kind of puts those three batteries in that class
Yeah.
size.
Yeah. Yeah.
That first one almost looks like an Avata 2 battery.
I said the same
It
thing, Greg.
almost
I thought it
does,
was
but
about a
it
two.
almost does. But if you pull out a Mavic 3 battery and look at that, you have the same
The
dimensions.
Yeah. I think the Air 4 is going to have one camera, one 1 inch camera, because that'll keep the Air 3 still relevant.
It would, but then you have the Air 3S that's supposed to drop in September, which has three lenses. One of them guaranteed to be at a minimum of a 1 inch sensor. We know one of them
Well,
is going to be a minimum of a 7 times zoom that the Mavic Pro has
see,
already. What, Herman?
but once again, those photos and all of that stuff was. I don't know how much that I'm gonna hold that to be true,
I think those
especially
photos
when
are
the guys
Photoshop.
Especially when the guys that leaked them said that they weren't true.
Did you see? Okay, Herman, we'll go back to the Air 4 really quick, but this was a good point that I wanted to bring up that he brought up, and I know John's replied to him and everything, but see, one huge reason no one can rely at all on DJI drones in a critical situation, they have 100% control not to allow you to take off and 100% control to control your flight. Pretty much every drone manufacturer that you buy a drone from has that much control. Don't kid yourself.
True.
Skydio could do the same thing with their
True.
drones too.
True.
Yeah, well, they were
True.
talking
Your
about how
cell phone company too. Your cell phone company can do it.
they were talking about how DJI put a block on all drones in like Taiwan, um, Ukraine, Russia, where they can't take off. Like they blocked out the whole country.
Right, but they are hackable. Their drones are hackable, and you with the program No Limit, you can hack that DJI drone, and you have full control,
Okay.
unlimited altitude, etc.
But do you really think that Skydio could not ground one of their drones anytime they wanted to in a different?
Oh, all of them can.
Yes,
All,
exactly.
all of them can, I believe.
Yeah, I think Tony just trying to make the point that
They receive firmware updates,
yeah,
right?
the Chinese
Yep.
are buying their drones for nefarious reasons, where Skydio, being a U.S. company, would not like ground the drones during a war or something like that.
Well, then we go back to the same thing. Does a Skydio drone, even the newer drones, have the ability to do what they do in a war zone? I don't think it's still up to, what is it, the X1 or X2, whatever the hell it is.
The X10.
Yeah, the X10.
Once
Go ahead.
again, the Ukraine complained about the drones that came from America and their operations out
Yes.
there in Ukraine, and the chief operator at Skydio weighed in on what his belief was about it, and he didn't exclude his drone from that list of drones that didn't operate well in Ukraine. So, to answer your question, probably not.
Yeah, but to actually be able to fly non-GPS environments, most drones can do that. But when you're talking an environment that's being jammed, the 2.4 and 5.8 frequencies that are being jammed to keep drones from flying, none of those drones did well. Nobody's drones did well. But yet they want to use them here in New York City with all these buildings and 5G networks. I want to see how that works out. That'll be interesting.
Okay, we did cover that again, so now we can go back to the Air 4 talk again. Well, I don't know especially so now that they're going to choke them with the tariffs. They're throwing money at them, and saying, "Well, we're not banning them. We're not banning them. We're just getting a tax on them. No, we're not banning them. They have just as much chance as anybody else. We're just making sure that the prices are competitive."
Well, Bill, I
Right.
know,
That's right.
since Lee Stefanik is pretty down on DJI drones, but the people over the FCC that keep approving these new DJI drones every month or whatever, they're not very down on DJI drones.
Well,
They're
that's
very
because
positive.
they're
They
being
approve
vetted
anything
and they're
DJI
passing.
throws at them.
I don't think
That's
that would
because
really
they're
have anything to
passing
do with
all the tests that they're
True.
it.
True.
There's nothing
Long as
to legally stop them, is there?
as long as they pass the required tests to be able to transmit at those frequencies, DJI drones could fly upside down and sideways. They don't care.
Yeah, because I think it's
That would be
outside
nice.
all the political stuff. Until the
Yeah.
rule comes out, they don't do anything like that. But yeah, they could. They could pretty much cut the signal off at any given time. Where is that something that's possible? Is it possible for them just to
What?
basically ground all our drones at once?
Yes.
DJI themselves? Yes.
Not DJI,
As
our
well,
government. If they revoke the FCC right to broadcast, is that something
Um,
not
well, I
really?
it's a
don't
little
know about the
difficult.
license.
It's a little difficult.
Yeah.
I mean, with any
I
kind
don't
of
know how that works with the
that can be
license
done,
that
but I
are
don't
already
think anybody
given.
without like blocking signals that you could ground.
Yeah, they would have to update the firmware in order for that to be accessible and done.
Right,
You
right,
look
right.
back in, 9/11, the skies were grounded for I don't know how long, right? And if
Right.
anybody went up in the air, they were in trouble. We didn't really
Right.
have drones as much back then, but now everything's got remote ID, so they'll be able to see anybody up in the air. They'll be able to see everybody up in the air without remote ID. It doesn't matter.
This is true. As long as you have devices like Aeroscope, you'll be able to see anything from the very first Phantom all the way through. As long as it operates on a 2.4, 5.8, which they're trying to raise up frequencies, they'll be able to see you.
BlueVec right now is a Canadian company that's got the broadcaster as a replacement for Aeroscope.
Yeah, I did hear that they were supposed to be taking over, but let's see where it goes. Bill, I don't know. Go ahead.
Aeroscope discontinued, so
Yeah, because they're on to the next venture. But as far as the DJI and that Mavic 4 and the whatever 4s are coming out, we will see. Some people believe something else will come out before that drone in September. I believe it will also.
I mean, Bill, do you think? I
Yeah.
mean, pretty much. Do you think this is kind of the schedule for the year? Of course, we've already had the DJI 4K, Mini 4K. We had the Avod 2. So you think that in the course of this year, we will see an Air 3, a Mavic 4, possibly a Mini 5 Pro?
You mean an Air 4, right? Or an
Well,
Air 3S.
yeah, any area one. Well, I'll just say we'll see a new Air model, a new Mavic model, and a new Mini model. You think that's we got 3 more drones coming before the end of the year?
I think
Hold
they're
the
going to be
mini model.
an old Mini model.
No, hold it.
Yeah,
He said he would hold on the Mini.
Mini.
model.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, they don't. I don't think there's anything because they love selling that one sensor so much. So I don't think so either.
They're all starting to become the same drone.
Yeah, they are. But I
And
think there will be an Air 4, like Ron's saying. It's going to come out, like Ron's saying, around the end of July, because it would seem to me that probably people already have it, and are testing it already, especially if it's going to be coming out the end of July.
Well, you'll know.
well, yeah,
You'll know when people have it. When people like Igor start posting those blurry pictures of it.
They might, well, another thing too is I think it's going to be a dual camera, just like the 3, but you're going to get a 1-inch as your base, and you're also going to get a 1-inch zoom. And so that's why I think they're going to keep the two, unless they do it as an S model, and that's what I think it's going to be in it. Because everybody was still ragging about how they wanted to have that 1-inch sensor, and you can tell, Steven from over there, he talks about it. The Air 2S has a 1-inch sensor on it.
yep,
If you
yep.
put that 1-inch sensor in the housing that the Air 3 has and run it on the same tech that the Air 3 has, that 1-inch sensor will still blow it out of the water. And I'm not going to say that, but it's just like everybody says, the only true upgrade between the Mini 3 Pro and the Mini 4 Pro is just the pipeline is speeded up. The through line's going through, or whatever I want to say it. My words aren't coming out properly.
Well,
But
they've already said that in the event that the Air 4, Air 3, Air 3S, ABZ drone comes out, whatever drone comes out is going to shoot the Mavic 3 series in the ass. And I'm going to tell you now. Hold on. This is where people fail to realize how valuable what they have is. How valuable what they have is. You'll get my point. The Mavic 3 series is a great series of drones. It's on OcuSync 3. They've just transitioned to OcuSync 4, correct?
Correct.
Now they're going to start filling that line with OcuSync 4. There's nothing wrong with OcuSync 3. I have an Air 2S before next month. I have to re-register it for another 3 years. I still have my Mavic Pro. People do not take the time to learn to use what the hell they have before they go out and buy the newest and latest.
Exactly right.
I agree.
Be happy with what you have. Learn how to use what the hell you have. And I mean, if you got the money, go out and get the drone. Go out and get the drone. But I mean, if you're just buying it to say you have a new drone, you have it. I think you're wasting your money.
Yeah, don't kid yourself that you need to buy every new drone because it's going to help you build your YouTube channel.
That's my point.
Sure.
You got to have a kind of certain niche to yourself or certain, I don't know, glow, I guess you would say. Like Marcus has a standard format, and Ron's starting to establish his standard format. And as time goes by, me, I don't really have a standard format. I couldn't, even when Billy Kyle and I were still kind of hanging out and talking, he would always say, "Oh, I'll storyboard this and I'll write out a script." And I'm like, that just, I'm always just, from the hip. It would be too difficult for me to actually process and program everything out. And then when it comes down to editing everything, oh, that's even worse because
Seems like a lot of work.
it's not so much that it's a lot of work. It's just there's a lot of shit that goes on here that my wife, has to have help with. And sometimes I'm lazy and I don't always
There's
do.
not enough time in the day, plain and
Yeah.
simple.
So the drones don't always get the attention that I would love to give them because I'm too tired or either mentally or physically from stuff that has gone on here to where, I'm like, oh, it's gorgeous outside. I bet the sunset's beautiful, but
But see, there's nothing wrong with that, Bill, because I know people who fly drones and they only fly them in auto. You know why? Because they don't have the time to sit down and color edit a photo. They don't have the time to sit down and color edit a video. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with it at all. If you find something you like, stick with it. But you don't have to jump with the Joneses every time the Joneses jump.
Did you see what John was talking about, Dale? He was talking about, aren't they talking about revoking all the DJIs?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that would grant everything.
That's what we were
Legally.
talking about.
I mean,
That's what we
they
were
could
talking about.
they could block it, but they could, legally say block it.
Yeah, and then, so if you flew it, you would be in deep shit.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right. So yeah, that's what I was okay.
Dale, has there been precedent in any not drones but any other field of the FCC doing mass withdrawals of licenses like that? Has that ever happened before, where they totally revoked a whole bunch of previous?
I haven't seen them backdate it. I mean,
that's
maybe
a good
they
point.
have, and I just don't know about it. But I believe Huawei is blocked that way.
Okay, but of course they actually found and showed us the chips in Huawei that were stealing the data. So
Yeah,
that
yeah.
the people that compare this to Huawei, well, they actually showed consumers. There's all any news site you want to showed exactly what Huawei was doing inside those routers.
Yeah, I think like what the last guy just said, about ham licenses. Yeah, okay. Do I have a ham radio? Yeah, I do. Do I broadcast? No, because I don't have my license. Could I? Yeah, I could. If the it hits the fan, then yeah, I'm gonna broadcast here and there. But could somebody find me because I broadcast? Yeah, you bet. Spend my $59 and get my ham license. Yeah, just takes a little bit of time.
Guys, I have to say good evening to you because it's been a long day.
No, I totally understand.
Right,
All
right.
right.
Oh, and I didn't even realize Herman was back, and he's been down there the whole time.
All right. You guys have a great evening. I've been up.
You have a good night too.
All right.
Thanks for coming
Take
in.
care.
Have a good one.
All right.
Thanks for
I
coming
don't
in.
know why, but my
No
internet
problem.
keeps breaking up.
Oh, okay. That's okay. I don't know. It could be.
Now, how do I leave here?
Go on the upper right.
Here,
Go on the
yeah,
upper right, and you could see click on the link or click on the down arrow, and then it'll let you log out.
Okay,
Or just close the
console.
browser.
All right, that'll work.
All right, be good.
Good job.
All right.
Hey, Bill, what's the old Eagles song? You can check in, but you can never leave.
Hotel California.
Hotel California.
Yeah.
Well, the way they're going about it this time, baiting us with that name, drones for first responders. I can just see people going, "Oh yeah, that's good." Click, 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 click. And then next thing you know, it's a done deal. And then we're like, and that's why DJI is going to hit us with freaking everything this year. they're gonna throw so much shit at us.
We said they said that last year too.
Well, we got a bunch of shit last year too.
Yeah. Of course, Bill, what about this
Well,
scenario here? So come July, I go out and buy my brand new spanking shiny Air 4 and I get hit by a 30% tariff on the price. And then I pay that tariff regrettably, and then a month or two later, then they revoke the FCC revokes the license on it. So I've got this 30% tariff drone that won't even fly anymore. That could be a bad year.
But I don't think that.
you got a stack of paper?
Well, I could.
So my question is, are they trying to set some precedents with the Mini 4K at $299?
Well, that's been their
Well,
price
the
point
Avata 2 was cheap.
well, even the Mini
Start
4K,
saying the price
because
is
of an
lower.
SE drone, the SE drones have been priced around $299.
Well, what about the Avata and the Avata 2 price tags?
Yeah, I mean,
That
yeah,
shocked
these guys
everybody.
lowering prices this year, not raising them.
That's what said. That shocked everybody, man.
Yeah, I mean,
But what I'm thinking, or what I've heard, is that the Mavic 4 is going to be like loaded for bear, basically. So, like the Air 2S or the Air 3S or 4 that I'm thinking of with the dual 1-inch cameras. Jesus, son. Anyway, so got dual 4-inch cameras. Sparky's just bitching up a storm here.
gonna have 34 times zoom on optical zoom on that.
Well, I'm just saying there'll be two 1-inch, and the Micro Four Thirds in the Mavic 4. But it's going to be so expensive, it's going to be a $4,000 drone, and that could very well be why we're going to get an Air as opposed to a Mavic, because they don't think they're going to have the Mavic ready to go out.
So we're going to get a much enhanced Air 4 with which you saw Drone XL. He was talking, of course, 1-inch sensor, mechanical shutter, a variable aperture. He was talking about stuff we've only seen in the Mavic series before.
Well, I think the next Mavic is going to be it's going to not even be considered prosumer. It's going to be like bottom line cinematic.
Baby Inspire.
Yeah, pretty much a Baby Inspire. It's going to have that kind of
what we're saying is the Air series is going to kind of shift into that spot the Mavic series used to have.
Exactly. Yeah. And so that's the prosumer drone that we're going to accept as our new toy.
Our top of the line drone. We don't fly mini. We had I can't say who, but I'll just say that Man Up North predicted the Mavic, the Air 4 would be 1245.
Oh wow!
Base.
Yeah, I saw that.
I'm talking drone controller and battery.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that when he piped that in the other night.
Yeah.
I saw that Monday.
Yeah. So if that's true, Bill, that the whole thing of DJI keeping prices down is going to continue with that drone.
Without some dog barking in the background.
That would be nice, Ron.
Sparky's always barking.
Yeah, I mean that's a bump up from the
lost Herman
1099 that the Air 3 is. But if all that stuff comes that's rumored to come with it, that's going to make that drone much more, much more substantial. So without getting much of a price increase. But Randy, I saw your video. You said tonight too. If they take the 3x camera with 3x tele and just leave us with 1-inch wide angle lens, I'd rather have the Air 3 with the sensor it has, having both those cameras than one 1-inch sensor that's just a wide angle.
Yeah, I agree. And for me to ditch the Air 3 and go with the Air 4, they're really going to have to blow my socks off.
Well, like those rumors are, they are going to blow your socks off. If it comes with two cameras.
Truthfully, It's not that much bigger of a sensor, because isn't basically the 1/1.3 is basically like a little over 3/4 of an inch.
Right. It's close to one sensor. But here's something, Bill. You don't see this on drone channels. Don't talk about this. But if you go out and watch just the camera channels, the people that don't do drones, they just do cameras. They're reviewing the Pocket 3. A lot of those camera channels, they say the Pocket 3 has a 1-inch stack sensor. Now, you don't hear a drone sensor tell you that, and you can't find that on DJI's website. But more than one of those big camera channels say it's a 1-inch stack sensor.
It'll probably be the same camera as the Pocket 3.
Yeah. which the Pocket 3 is, it's
Herman's internet keeps giving him
it
problems.
basically replaced a lot of people using DSLR mirrorless cameras for video.
Eloise Stefanik heard him talking bad about it.
Yeah, right.
Messing
New
with
York.
his internet.
He has pool in New
Messing
York.
with his internet.
Yeah.
How dare you talk down about my bill?
Hey, sorry, Miss Stefanik. I didn't mean to talk bad about you. Can you please turn Herman's internet back on?
Somebody needs to find her and take her for a ride along.
Hey, can I throw a wild card out here?
Okay, go for it.
Solid state battery.
I have no idea. Explain. Expound.
Smaller, more dense, charge in 15 minutes. For a small battery.
Hour and a half flight time.
And they're starting to produce these in now, coming out with commercial products.
Where?
Look up solid state batteries on YouTube.
But I mean, here in the U.S. or some other country?
It wouldn't be a country. It starts with a C, would it, Dale?
There's a number of manufacturers that are doing it.
Well, in Drone XL's leaks, he did say increased battery time for the Air 4.
So I just think it was, when I saw it, it was like, oh man, that's like a perfect setup for
Solid state battery.
Solid state battery is a perfect setup for small drones.
Oh yeah, definitely. But
Japanese, okay.
Increased battery life for the Air 3, Randy, probably not that big of a deal, because if you have the 3 battery, the fly more combo, I basically get 30 minutes of flight, average flight time out of those batteries. So that's 90 minutes of flight time. Man, it's rare I want to fly more than 90 minutes.
Right.
No, I agree 100%. Every time I fly the F3, I always have like 1 or 2, like 2 bars left on the battery.
Yep. I hardly ever fly at all. I'll usually drive to 2 different locations, get 2 flights, sometimes 3 flights in on one battery, 3 different spots.
Yeah,
Yep.
I agree.
I mean, we've reached a point where nobody's going to ever not want a few more minutes of battery life, but it's not a big selling point for me anymore. That should increase my battery life because I've already got good battery life.
Yep.
Angel, you okay?
Yeah, I got a scratch on my leg. My bad.
Oh, okay. We were worried there for a second.
I'm stroking out here, guys.
Yeah.
Does the Mavic 3 have a mechanical shutter?
No.
No.
I think the last consumer DJI drone to have a mechanical shutter was the Phantom 4 Pro series. I believe. Am I right on that, Dale?
Say that again.
I believe the last consumer DJI drone to have a mechanical shutter was the Phantom 4 Pro series of drones.
That's correct. Yeah.
So do you really think that they would put one on the Air 4?
I don't. That sounds like a
What was the shutter? The new
you
shutter.
never know, I guess.
What's the new shutter though, Ron? That
Global.
Rod's always so big on.
Yeah. Like, I mean, really, I guess it's unaffordable at this point, Bill. But then once the global shutters take over, there'll be no need for any talk about any mechanical digital shutter. But again, I don't know if global shutter is affordable for an affordable price drone anymore.
Herman said send Eloise Stefanik to him.
Yeah, I'll send her a box of cookies. Well, she's a politician. I'll send a bag of money up there, Randy. That'll get her attention, right?
As long as it's got white powder in it.
Somebody needs to send some bribes her way.
Hey, Bill, one of the rumors, I'm jumping all over the place, on the Mavic 4, some rumors say it's coming with a full frame camera. And that goes into, you say it's going to cost $4,000, maybe $5,000 if they're throwing a full frame camera in there.
That's what I
camera sensor.
It's going to be.
That's what I want a Mavic for.
It's not. Yeah, it's not going to be a prosumer drone anymore. It's going to be a cinematic drone, like Ron's saying, a baby Inspire. It's going to be something that, so you're going to have a shitload more smaller, film companies and stuff using it. Well, probably some bigger companies too, and they'll probably buy 30 or 40 of the damn things and film from everywhere.
So like if Netflix, turns Drone Therapy and Drone Nation into a series on their network, we'll have to buy those things, the film or Netflix shows.
No. They will sponsor us and they will give us those. So they will say, "Here's your new toy for this week." Of course, Marcus will be taking the lead because I didn't. He was talking on Johnny's show tonight, and I thought Billy was supposed to be on, but I didn't really hear what happened. But
Billy West was the advertised guest tonight.
But well, you never know with him. Sometimes he'll take a job last minute and he just goes.
He had to cancel.
Yeah, that's when like when I have Billy on Bill, I don't announce him. When he shows up, that's when I announce him.
Exactly. It's when the last time I had him on, I was just like, there might be a special guest.
Yeah, right. There may be somebody here tonight, but
if he shows up.
Yeah.
His
It's
girlfriend
certain
probably
guests
came
you don't
over.
really announce before they actually show up.
Well, it was kind of cool the way it went tonight. I know because it was really I'm pissed off at Evie Mux. I'm going to try one more time to schedule the show and see if it will put it at the date that I ask it to. Dale has sent me some stuff on solid state batteries, so I will put them in the chat.
John Coopy says he found a solid state battery for $1,000.
$1,000. A drone battery.
They're not completely out there yet, but they're coming soon.
Yeah.
They're right at the edge of mass production. They're starting to produce them in small quantities, doing like tests and stuff. But the size, the energy compactness, energy density, I just see that as being a game changer. Where you charge your computer once a week, you charge your phone once a week.
I don't know, man. You're talking. We still got to think about this. And don't get me wrong. I believe what you're saying and everything, but when you talk, you've said density and energy in the same sentence. So I'm sitting here thinking that's gonna have to be. There's gonna be one hell of an explosion somewhere.
Yeah, fair, right? Okay. Yeah. So we're gonna have the next Note 7 flying on an airplane, right?
Yeah. Well, I was just saying, I don't know, man, but just it seems to me that the more you push shit together and the more juice you try to get it to hold, that something just doesn't work right. I mean, hell, there could be 1 million batteries made, but I'm
What
sure.
happens with an EV now when it gets in a car wreck?
Man, the thing that kills me about EVs is nobody tells you about how much those freaking batteries weigh, and you burn through tires like gasoline.
Yep.
But you can't buy tires in Washington State anymore. It's made out of oil.
But you get what I'm saying. It's just ridiculous. Yeah, well, my biggest gripe about Washington now is I'm tired of hearing like every 15 minutes that somebody got shot. I'm just.
Hey, you had a big deal up there.
Yeah, what happened in Marysville?
Man, that was crazy. I told them that I was on leave, and they just wouldn't listen.
I don't know how you got away.
No, I had a pass, man. I got a pass. I got it from Bob before he sent out those checks.
Hey, fellas, I'm gonna have to cut out a little early tonight.
Oh, that's perfectly
All right,
fine,
Randy.
Randy. That's perfectly fine, Randy. Thanks
We
for
didn't
coming
get to
in.
talk to you about your range test, Randy.
Oh, what range test? You gotta tell us quick. What
He
happened?
did a range test with the Air 3 and he got out over 30,000.
Yeah, it was like 31,000 feet, 5.7 miles.
Do you
And
know
it looked like he was
Justin-
in trouble for a few minutes, Bill, but he landed with what you had like 17% or something when you got back.
You got
Yeah,
good
I
eyes,
find
man.
it pretty good.
You got
Where'd you
good
fly?
eyes. Line of sight the whole way.
No, what was that?
Line of sight the whole way.
What was it? What was it? Chesapeake or what was it?
That was the Northeast River.
Oh boy, I haven't been in Northeast in a long time. Yeah,
Yeah,
I used to love
it's
going down Northeast River.
It's a perfect channel too because it's only about a mile wide. So if something was to happen, I could have went to either side. So it was pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good location.
Yeah. You ever go down and fly Turkey Point at the state park down there at the?
I haven't, but I wanted to go down there, and they're actually doing renovations. They're building a new parking lot, and it's not going to be opened up until next year sometime.
Oh well, that's a great location down there. It was actually used in a Clint Eastwood movie. I forget the name of it, but it's a Clint Eastwood kind of spy movie. They used that location at Turkey Point in the movie. It was so cinematic.
Yeah, because it's got I think it's got like 60-foot cliffs all around it. It's a pretty nice spot.
Boy, Randy, you and I should make a video where we like the best of like Cecil County, Maryland, or something.
Dude, man, I tell you, there's so many nice places to fly around here. It's pretty nice.
Oh yeah, well I've got great nice places to fly around here. It's just Angel's tired of fucking asking me to get up and go because I've got something else going on. But this is
It's so great
hilarious.
to fly in that Microsoft simulator, right, Randy?
Well, remember,
right.
Randy had to go here.
Wait,
So
it says
Randy
Randy,
said
answer
goodbye.
these questions very carefully. Anything you say can and will be used against you in the court of drone law.
Hey,
That
I'm not
needs to,
scared. I'm a rebel.
that's a t-shirt, man.
Guilty until proven
Reddit,
innocent.
Reddit.
You need to put a big picture of the drone on the front and put those answer these questions very carefully. Anything you can say can and will be used against you in the court of drone
I need
law.
to hear that Law and Order. Dun, dun.
Yeah. And the next case is Philly Drone Life. Will or will he not comply?
I did have a guy comment on the video. He said something about flying out of line of sight. He was like, "What if a SAR helicopter came through, search and rescue?" I said, "Search and rescue for what?" If there was a search and rescue helicopter 90 feet off the ground right in front of me, I think I would know.
Right. You could hear those things a mile away. Yeah.
Yeah,
No, it was sound effects, man. I added them afterwards.
Yeah.
right.
Tell 'em, there's no search and rescue to Northeast River. What are you talking about?
I've never seen a search and rescue
They were
helicopter.
looking for
I never
J.D.
have
Cooper.
either. Half the time in Northeast River, you could just take your boat to one of those sandbars and walk around for a while. You
Oh
know
yeah,
what I'm talking about. Yeah.
yeah. The Susquehanna Flats. It's knee deep, about a mile out in the river.
Yeah. Randy and I got to start our own drone show, the Cecil County, Maryland drone show.
There you go.
Yeah.
I haven't been back to Virginia in probably about 6 or 7 years, but there's a ton of places into Virginia to fly. But
I've
my
flying
wife,
to Cecil County in 20 years,
Oh,
but
I've-
I'll never forget it growing up in that area.
my wife couldn't believe it. I was driving up 81 from the airport, right? And we're driving through, and you go through some decent sized cities, and then when you get closer to my hometown, she's like, "Are there any more cars on the road?" She's like, "I don't see any houses." And I was like, "Yeah, that's the way it is here."
Well, that sounds like a lot of parts of Cecil County.
Well,
gotta be careful.
Most of where I'm from in Virginia is just like rolling hills and farmland.
We have rolling hills and farms.
And so she was like, I took her to, a bunch of different places. And then she's like, "Oh, wow, how many stores do you have?" And she's like, "Oh, look, a Walmart." I was like, "Yeah, that's it. That's the store."
That's about it.
But we have about every fast food place known to man.
All right, guys. I'm gonna get off here. I'll see you guys next
Good
week.
night, Randy.
All right, thank you,
Thank you, Randy.
Thank you for hanging
All
around.
right. Night, fellas.
Good night.
Now, see, what makes me mad is I actually made the thumbnail for the original show tonight on Canva for free.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I was like really disappointed because let's see if I can go ahead and load it up here.
I heard Canva's pretty good. I've played around with a little bit, but not too much.
Here, hang on, let me close this one out. So, but that's why I think that we're going to still see the Mavic 4, but it's going to be
Later in the year?
yeah, and it's going to be well beyond any of our nothing that we could go. But honey, I don't think that's going to flush. She's going to be like, "You're not getting anything until you die."
Right.
One of those things.
Yeah. We're taking on second mortgage on that drone.
Yeah, let me see. Yeah, I mean it's not much. It was
And
kind
really,
of cool.
I'm making full food as a full frame, but I don't really need a full frame. I don't even have a full frame handheld camera. I don't need a full frame drone.
See, this is free on Canva.
Oh wow, this thing is on.
Is this thing on?
Is this thing on?
Yeah.
I like it.
But I actually used a different software to actually take myself out of the background.
I've only played with Canva on the phone app.
Oh, you know what was totally sweet with Canva is that the whole background remover. I can't believe how powerful that thing is.
Well, I used a photo director, and that's what I used to pull myself because the picture was like me sitting right here, and I used my phone, and then
Yeah.
I actually sent it to myself on Facebook, and then I just
cool.
played with it from there.
Oh,
And then all I did was click. Go ahead.
The Canva built-in background remover, and there's a couple other things too.
I thought but that was in the pro version. Is it still free?
We have a paid version.
Yeah, that's because but since I actually have Photo Director, that's why I used it. And for me, honestly, it's been working phenomenal. I didn't get the big Power Director video crap because I was like, nah, it's not linear like I would, or non-linear like I would wish it would be. So anyway,
Anyway.
oh, okay, Ron, did you see my suggestion that I gave you for the Netflix movie?
I saw that you said you had a suggestion, but I didn't see what the movie was.
No, the movie's called Upgrade. That's it. Upgrade.
Oh, I thought you wanted me to upgrade my Netflix.
No, no,
The
no,
movie's
no.
called I
The
didn't, I
movie is
didn't get it
called
though. Okay, so I'm looking for a movie
Upgrade.
called Upgrade.
Yeah, so it's on Netflix.
It's not a movie about drones, is it?
No, it's
Upgrade.
a movie about AI in the not so distant future.
Okay, I'm
Uh,
interested.
Hang on, I will read the
Bill, can
description.
I give you a movie suggestion while you're looking?
Yes, go ahead.
Dune 2 is now on
On
HBO
Max.
Max for free. I mean, free. I mean, if you have
Yeah.
HBO Max, you don't have to pay for it now. I watched half of part 2 last night. It was a long
Well,
movie, and I was kind of watching yesterday as well as today. So I couldn't.
I
catch up.
started watching it, and then my wife was looking at it, and she was like, "Oh, what?" And then I started explaining to her. I was like, "Kind of in a wild way, it's about Christ." And
Right.
she's like, "What?" And so I was trying to explain to her, about the Bene Gesserit
Yeah.
and about the Kwisatz Haderach and all this, and she's like, and she goes, "Maybe I need to watch the first part first." So we started watching the first part.
Is that available now on any of the?
It's on HBO Max.
Both
It's
of
free
them
if
are
you
on
have
HBO Max.
Yeah.
Right.
It
Both
just
of them
came
are on HBO
yesterday.
Max.
I haven't
And
watched
Bill,
either.
in the book, that part of the movie, I watched the whole thing yet. But when they go the emperor and the emperor's daughter, was that in the book? I don't remember the emperor's daughter in the novel. Sorry, he's like he's
No, no,
not
no.
paying
I'm
attention.
listening to you, and to be honest with you, I don't remember her either because
Yeah.
she's the one who's narrating the second book. I guess you would say, but it could be because I've not read all. I have not read all the books.
I've only read the first book.
Exactly.
I mean,
Yeah. So,
I've read it a couple times in my life, but I've only read it. And these books are so hard to read. It's not like some easy thing where you want to jump into the next novel. Man, when you finish Dune, you need to relax.
well, it's not. And it's not just that. But when you like in the movie, the original movie, you see the creatures that fold space, and you understand why they need the spice because
Yeah.
and they kind of cower sometimes and hide
Right.
because
Right.
they're like super vulnerable and shit,
Right.
and they don't even talk about them in this bunch.
No, they don't. But yeah, I mean the space is key to the whole way the universe works or whatever. Like everything was shut down, it wouldn't be for space. I mean, anybody who hasn't read Dune, I mean, Dune is in my top 5, maybe top 3 books ever.
I did the audiobook of it and
It's
listened to
that
it.
great. Yeah, it's that
Yeah.
great of a novel.
It's
It's top 3. I mean, I read it when I was, it came out when I was, when I was probably 5 years old. I probably read it for the first time when I was maybe like about college age, 18, 19, whatever. And I just couldn't I mean, the thing was just,
All right, all right.
I couldn't believe it was so good.
Here
I
you
did
go.
the audio on
What-
Ender's Game and Ready Player One too. It's the same thing. They were way better than the movies. I mean, they did justice with Ready Player One. They did pretty good.
Yeah, it was. It was pretty close.
Yeah.
Okay, now
Well,
here.
the 1980s attempt to film Dune was kind of like almost a campy, like Batman, like Dune version.
Because it jammed all the books into one movie, man.
In 2 hours or less or whatever. But
Yeah.
it was real campy. It was almost like a Batman movie. It was a camp that they camped
Yeah,
the story
yeah.
up too much. Where this one takes it deadly serious, like the
Okay,
novel.
so here, let me
Just-
read you. Let me read you the introduction to
Upgrade.
Set in a technologically advanced
Oh,
near
spit it
future.
out. Spit it out.
Upgrade follows Great Trace, an auto mechanic whose life is upended when he and his wife Asha are attacked by a technologically advanced criminals, resulting in Asha's death and Gray's paralysis from the neck down. Then, when approached by Aaron, a biomechanical developer who implants him with STEM, an cutting-edge biomechanical enhanced chip that not only gives him the ability to walk, but also endows him with enhanced speed, agility, and technical knowledge to avenge Asha's death. Upgrades, and it's pretty cool. That's
You
the
got
thing.
me, Bill. I'm trying to download my
I
Netflix.
stay, Bill, but I really got to take off. I just got messaged. I have to go pick up my daughter. So
Totally understand. Thank you, sir, for coming in. Enjoyed the time.
Good night, Dale. Thank you.
We don't have a whole lot of people watching anyway. Everybody's kind of.
I got a little message on my
Yeah, I
screen
gotta-
saying, do the limited internet, blah, blah, blah. I didn't get to read the rest of it, but I'm still here. So I guess I'm not that limited.
I coached Timmy as a kid in soccer.
Yes, Chalamet.
Yeah,
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 you were talking about that before.
yeah, yeah.
Because last time I was talking about Wonka, but anyway, I haven't given any. So RoboCop the mechanic. I'm not gonna say anything. You need to watch it, man. It's not. It's not.
No spoilers here, Mark. No spoilers.
Well, once you just got to watch it, man. And at the end of it, you're gonna be like, ah.
So I'm gonna get it queued up here. To watch as soon as I'm done doing too. I'm gonna watch. Say it one more time. Upgrade.
It's on Netflix. Upgrade.
On Netflix.
Of course, and if you haven't already watched it, of course, the new Godzilla, Kong, the new Empire.
Yeah. You have to pay. How much does that cost to watch that?
I think
$20?
it's $25.
I'll
You
wait.
could rent it. You could rent it one time for, let's say, I think 15. But if you think about it, if you've got your entire family and you're paying to go see it in the theater,
Yeah.
and you're jammed in there with all these other people. If you got like a 45-inch screen in your home and you cut off all the lights and you pop popcorn and you go to the bathroom anytime you want to, I think it's a better deal just to do it that way.
Yeah. It's a bargain if you have say 4 people or whatever. It's a bargain.
You can always order movie candy from Amazon and charge your guests when they come over.
There you go. Yeah, set up a little stand in the corner.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like 5-minute intermission, 5-minute intermission.
I hate to say it, but I've been a little bit. I'm not underwhelmed is not the right term, but the first 2 Godzilla comic movies, I've been a little overwhelmed. And I'm just gonna wait until it comes on when I don't have to pay for it.
Oh no, I totally understand it, but this isn't like any of the other ones, man.
Okay.
They pull out a can of whip ass this time.
Okay.
All right, guys,
That's
I gotta
here.
do this. I gotta jump on this call here. So
Yeah, I
y'all
think
have a good evening.
All right, Angel.
Yeah.
Thank you
All
very
right, see y'all
much.
next time.
Have
All
a
right,
good
thanks, guys.
thanks for coming back in. Thank you.
No,
Okay.
now there's 2, but now there was 2 or whatever.
Yeah.
They say.
Well, it's like I said, Evie Mux gave me such a problem tonight. It didn't want to run right. I tried to schedule the show. It let me access the 22nd, and I knew that it was progressive time enough to where, I tried setting it up, I think about like 2:00 today, 2:30, and it said everything was fine. And then when I go look at it, it's saying it's tomorrow.
Oh.
And I'm like, what? What the hell is this? So I'm going to go back and delete all those, I guess, and then try to figure out what the hell's going on with Evie Mux and why it seems like it's trying to put everything a day ahead of what I'm doing or something like that. It's just crazy.
Bill, can I make a confession?
What?
Last week I forgot all about the office remodel. So
Yeah.
at 8:30 last Wednesday night, I'm clicking on probably some old link and I can't get in the show. I'm wondering what's going on here, whatever. And then it finally, it all slowly dawned on me. All right, yeah, right. There wasn't a show this week. Bill was talking about doing it out in the porch, and I'm clicking last week's link and whatever, and I was really befuddled for a few minutes. And then I got talking to Johnny about it, and then Johnny went live about 9:30.
Yeah, I saw
I jumped on his for a few minutes.
Yep. I saw that. That was kind of cool.
Yeah, but he didn't even know it. He said, "Well, why is Bill on?" I said, "Well, his office is being remodeled. He didn't have another place to do it." I told him the story. I'm the dummy there. I'm trying to log in, and I'm all ready for the show, and there is no show, And
Yeah. Well, I wasn't trying. I was going to try to do it, but by the time I got the Apple up and running, it was a pain in the ass, and I didn't get it work. Hey, Kurt, what's going on? Good to see you, buddy. Glad you came in.
Hello, Andy Kurt.
Yeah, Kurt's one of the moderators in Coast to Coast Drones. He's
Oh,
he's in
cool.
there off and on. Yeah.
Well, thanks for all the hard work you do over there.
Yeah, but I'm still hoping. I don't know what to do about the. I feel that yeah, we're coming to the end of us being able to fly DJI drones and Chinese drones. Is it going to be in the next 6 months to a year? No, I don't think so. But the price probably by the end of the year, they will get those tariffs pushed in by the end of the year. I'm afraid. So that's why I'm afraid that it's going to really push the Mavic 4 beyond all of us.
Well, like you said in the show here tonight, if I was locked in just the drones I own now, I'd be good for years and years or whatever. Or like Lawrence is saying, just lots of times, learn all the all the tools of the stuff your current drones could do. Like if you're not maxing out your current drone, what's the point of getting a drone with a bigger sensor if you're not maxing out the sensor you have now?
Well, yeah, and exactly. If what's the purpose of buying all those new drones? Is it just to have the newest drone on the block, or like you do a lot of times, like I said, like Marcus does, and like Ken Dono does, and like Billy does? They have a format, and especially Marcus has got his pretty much how it works. But like I said, I meant to say this earlier. I didn't know until I saw him on Johnny's show earlier that when his very first review, he doesn't all he does is charge up the drone. He doesn't do anything but just take off with it and send it out.
Right.
Now,
right.
I did not realize that after all this time that
Right.
that's what he does.
Right.
So
Right.
that's pretty cool. But
Right.
that's something that sets him apart from other people. Just like Billy, Billy has a lot of like pop-up cards and stuff like that. And Ken just Ken forgive me for saying this, but Ken kind of comes off as a used car salesman, but he's got a really good gimmick sale going on.
Mhm.
Like he could probably sell you a car that you really don't need.
Right. Right. I mean, truthfully to the audience here, whatever, like somebody like Billy. Billy has every drone he's ever bought on the shelf someplace or whatever. So it's really whatever the new drone costs. If he's not getting it, he's paying for it. But me, I just sell like if I get a new Air, a new Mavic, I sell the old one off. So I mean, I'm not really paying that much for these drones because maybe I'll get like 60% back of the cost of new drone by selling the old one off or whatever. So I mean,
Yeah.
I'm basically just upgrading every time because I don't have every drone I ever owned in the closet back here or whatever.
What about let's go to a different format. What about your pockets and your actions? Do you
Yeah.
sell them or
Yep, I when I upgraded to the Pocket 3, I sold the Pocket 2. So again, it really didn't cost me that much or whatever. Well, I know I got over I can't remember prices, but I got say two. I had a creators combo, so I got like 250 or something for the old Pocket, and the new Pocket was 600 the creators. So I mean, I had to pay money, but it wasn't like I was paying it all, whatever. I only have the GoPro, the current GoPro, the 12. I don't have any of the old ones. They're all gone, and they're worth. When you sell an old GoPro, you always get good money for it. It's not like you're getting $10, $50 for it. You sell the one generation old GoPro, you still get a couple $100 for it.
yeah? Well, I still have the original Pocket, the
Okay.
original Pocket 2, and
Okay.
the Pocket 3.
Right.
I
Right.
also have an OG action,
Right.
and I have
Right.
an Action 4.
Now the Action 4 is the first DJI action camera I purchased. I skipped one, 2, and 3 or whatever, but yet I bought the 4 is my first. It's my favorite action camera ever.
Well, see, my problem is I was trying to convince myself. I mean, there might be at some point in my life that I could actually start reviewing things, but I would have to set my mind to it, and my mind tends to go about 4 million directions at
At the
once.
same time, yeah.
And so I'll be talking to my wife about something, and then something else will happen. I'll go deal with that, and I'll come back and talk to her about something else, and she'll be like, "What? Huh? What?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And she, "You were talking about this 5 minutes ago." "Yeah, but we were kind of done with that conversation, so I was thinking about this, and then I brought it up now." And she'd just be like, bang, bang. It's like a ping pong ball
Yeah,
bouncing
I mean,
all over the place.
the best way to start doing reviews, don't try to do a Billy Connell where you put everything in the one video where he scripted it out, has all stuff done. Start out, if you have that one thought, just make a video about that one thought you just had before it goes away. make a video about that one thought or whatever, and put that up or whatever. And then your next thought, make another video and put that up or whatever. And some people don't like to sit down and watch a half-hour video at once. They don't mind a bunch of 5-minute videos about
Yeah,
one
true.
particular thing about a drone.
That's true.
Like lots of times I go searching for videos about one thing. Say you something came to your mind and you were showing the video how you did a hyperlapse or something like that or whatever. Or maybe I only want to see hyperlapse, so I'm watching your video instead of the guy's got 30-minute video where he covers everything because I only want to see the hyperlapse part that you just put up.
Right. Instead of giving you like this month's firmware update gave you this, and this, and I'm going to cover them, and there's timestamps all throughout the video. Da 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 da.
Right.
And then they're just like, I just want to know about the hyperlapse. Yeah, I totally.
And like the firmware update videos, you're right. But what the most important thing about the firmware update, if you show them how to actually do it, because a lot of people are newbies. They don't need to hear you sit here and talk about all these features. They just want to know how to do it. So
The
if you
thing
can
that's
show them on
crazy-
camera how you do it or whatever, that helps them more than you reading off all the things it does.
See, the bad thing about that though is remember when Assistant 2 was like the go-to fix. No matter what, you could hook it up to your computer, and then we went through that stage with the minis. That was kind of, Assistant 2 was having trouble with it. Then they introduced the FPV, and then Assistant 2 was, and they were like, don't, and then like, what was it, 2 years ago? They were like, don't upgrade your computer with Assistant, or don't upgrade your drone on your computer with Assistant 2. Do it through Wi-Fi. Remember when that happened too? Because one of mine got locked up because of that, and I had to get that. I think it was the Mini 2, and they had to send me a special code that went straight to my drone, which was kind of strange.
Right. I remember that. Yeah.
But anyway, my drone worked fine after that. But then I noticed that there was a lot of other people having the same issue, and that's how I eventually found out how to contact DJI and tell them what was going on. So going back to that, I wonder if maybe because where I live at, maybe they did look at the data and something happened, and then I had to get this code. And I didn't ever look at the other people that were talking in the forums to see like where they were located. But it just now popped into my head that it was because that's the only drone that's ever happened with was the Mini 2. And it literally would not, it kept getting an error every time. And then so they sent me this code, and then finally it would update. It was like if you did an update and it hung and it kind of bricked your drone. But this one, the update completed, but I just kept getting, it would say error, with such and such download. And I couldn't do anything. I couldn't revert. I couldn't do anything. So I finally when I finally Googled the right Google question was how I found this forum. And there was probably about 400 or 500 people in there. So
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, I mean things like that. I mean, one of my most popular videos. If I don't make a video for a few days, this pops up as my most watched video. It's a video that's at least 3 years old. Where I think it was one of the air drones. I showed how you hook the air drone to the computer and move the files over. Just through a cable. And I mean, Bill, it was a video. I just did my cell phone. I had no script or whatever. I was just talking into the phone. Like, in other words, the production was what do you call it? Like, bare bones, right? That didn't matter to these people. They didn't care that the video wasn't filmed on a good camera. I didn't have a real mic or whatever. All they cared about was it was a less than 5-minute video where I showed them how to transfer files over. That video still gets a bunch of views all the time, and again, it was nothing I planned. It was certainly like I said, a low budget video, whatever. I just filmed handhold my phone. So you just never know. I mean, it's easy. The do a Billy Kyle's type review is not easy, but to do your own type of review, can be easy or whatever.
I've had a couple. I did one long time ago about Master Screw Air Prop.
Master Air Screw one with the dogs in it.
Yeah, well,
everybody's seen that one. Yeah,
yeah, and it got
that's when you had what was the Air One was noisy. The Air One, noisy.
And that was when I was still using the Panasonic camera.
Right.
When I was back when I was a Kyle disciple.
Right. Which Panasonic did you have?
The G5. No G, no, what was it? Snow. I'm going to say. Anyway, it was an older model. It's
Yeah,
probably
yeah. Maybe a G
8 years.
three.
No, maybe it was before the G's. It was something 7 is what
Okay.
I
Yeah.
can't remember exactly which
Yeah.
one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was it Panasonic? Maybe
Probably still camera. Those Panasonic, they were
Lumix.
great cameras.
Lumix. I want to
Like,
say
like a Micro Four Thirds, right?
yes.
Yeah, yeah, they were great
Yes, here it
cameras.
is right here, and it's still a $500 camera.
They were great cameras.
The G7, Lumix G7, yeah, it's still $500, but you get what one? Oh, you get one lens with it, just like
Yeah, because
before.
they were great hybrid cameras. They did videos better than pictures.
Yeah, well, that's what I said. I still actually have that camera. I just haven't used it in years.
I still got the Panasonic G4. I still use it all the time. It's no use to upgrade. It's still a great camera.
Well, and I have to admit, to begin with, I thought I was going to build my channel and do all this fantastic stuff, and that's why I had to have everything. But then it was like, I would figure something out, and then like I don't have, $200 software or $400 software, and my biggest thing is like with photos, it's really difficult. I would rather have Lightroom and stuff like that, but I don't want to pay that ridiculous price for the subscription. They need to go back to just giving us the standalones like they used to, and then we'll pay for firmware updates for a year, and then you're done, and you can buy the next one. Or they can do like, I don't know, DaVinci Resolve, and you pay for it once, and it's yours, I mean, come on. Or finally, how Filmora came around when they did that lifetime deal with everybody, and they finally honored it after they kind of got slapped in the face by some YouTubers. But anyway, I've been on too long as it is, and I thank you very much.
Oh yeah, we're running way late here. Yeah,
Now I've got some stuff I need to get done,
Yep,
and I'm going to do my best to have a show set up and actually formatted for next Wednesday. So
next Wednesday, the Wednesday after Memorial Day.
yes, exactly.
Everybody have a great Memorial Day weekend.
Maybe we'll have
in the U.S.
Yes, everybody have fun for Memorial Day, but maybe we'll have more Air 4 leaks by then.
As long as Igor doesn't take the holiday off. Good night.
See y'all.